What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel, where today we are going to be looking at some more X Factors and Superstar abilities for the upcoming Madden 20 title. And today we're going to be taking a look at the secondary. We're going to be grouping the cornerbacks and the safeties together, and we're going to try to find out who's going to be overpowered, who is slightly underpowered, who got absolutely robbed of not getting an ability, and everything in between. So I'm going to group everyone together. We're going to look at corners and safeties, and because a lot of them overlap, a lot of the abilities will overlap. So, and I'm telling you right now, in relation to all the positions, the DBs feel pretty balanced. I don't see anything that's super overpowered, but there's definitely some abilities that are going to come in fairly handy in Madden 20. So looking at the cornerbacks, those that have X Factor abilities, we have Chris Harris Jr., Byron Jones, Richard Sherman, Jalen Ramsey, and Stephon Gilmore. In terms of corners that have just superstar abilities, not the X Factors, you also throw in Kyle Fuller, Xavier Howard, Denzel Ward, Marshawn Lattimore, and Darius Slay. So looking at this group of corners, I think I'm a little bit surprised not to see Patrick Peterson in the group. Maybe someone like Jonathan Joseph, who's been very consistent for the Houston Texans, could be a little bit upset as well. But I think generally speaking, I mean, Pat Pete is going to be a major talking point, but I think they got this position as right as they have any other position. So then we move to the safeties. For the safeties that have the X Factor abilities, we have Eddie Jackson, Earl Thomas, Derwin James, and Harrison Smith. Safeties that just have superstar abilities, Keanu Neal, Jamal Adams, Landon Collins, and Micah Hyde. This is where I get a little triggered as an Eagle fan. You put in Micah Hyde before you put in Malcolm Jenkins? Kevin Byard's been one of the best safeties in football, not included. John Johnson of the Rams, not included. I feel like you definitely could have added those three. Put those three into these categories. You'll be Gucci. Feels like they went a little light on the safety position. So obviously, as an Eagle fan, not seeing Jenkins here, but definitely Byard and Johnson have rightful claims to get included as well. So looking at the actual abilities, there are 3 X Factor abilities. Only one X Factor ability for corners, and it's called Shutdown, which essentially gives corners tighter coverage and higher interception percentage on contested catches. So the fact that this is tighter coverage, the fact that that seems like that is going to slightly be animation based, like you can't really control how tight your guy is, but the fact that these corners are going to be hugging your players that you're trying to defend and cover or going up against a little bit tighter, that does seem fairly overpowered, and that is for all the X Factors. So Harris, Byron Jones, Richard Sherman, Jalen Ramsey, and Stephon Gilmore all have shutdown. And then there's 2 X Factors that are for the safety positions. First up, you have Zone Hawk, which is increased rate of pass breakup or interception. And this is both the X Factor for Eddie Jackson and Earl Thomas. And there's also Reinforcement, which helps your safety get off blocks quicker, a tackling boost, and increased pass breakup success rate. That is for Mr. Derwin James and Harrison Smith. So I had to pick one of the 2. Personally, give me Zone Hawk. Give me the gun. Give me the one that's going to get a better chance at getting turnovers. Then again, you could look at Reinforcement and say getting off blocks, you know, a little bit more maybe animation based. So it's different strokes for different folks. A free and strong safety, clearly 2 defined abilities here. But definitely, if we're just talking about X Factor in general, you got to look at that cornerback one and say, you know, that is really, really good. In terms of age, Byron Jones and Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey, I think, is going to be the most overpowered DB in general, and you'll see that as we go through the base passive superstar traits, which he should be. I think Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in football, but there's still some pretty good abilities that we're going to jump into. And then for the safeties, Eddie Jackson's incredibly overpowered. Eddie Jackson is going to be absolute money and very, very annoying to go up against anytime you play the Bears. Eddie Jackson and Khalil Mack are going to make the Bears just a nightmare to play against in your franchise modes and head-to-head. So we broke down the X Factor ability, shutdown for the corners. You have Zone Hawk and Reinforcement for the safeties. Now let's look at the passive superstar abilities. These are abilities that are always active. You don't have to get into the zone. Good players will always tend to feel like good players. We'll start with the safeties. We have Enforcer and Unfakeable. Enforcer means you don't allow broken tackles when you're using the hit stick. That's pretty casual friendly because a lot of casual players do just, you know, throw the hit stick left, right, and center like it's Madden 06, and they just implemented it with Ray Lewis. This ability is possessed by Keanu Neal, Jamal Adams, Landon Collins, and Harrison Smith. And then you have Unfakeable, which means the player is rarely faked out by ball carrier moves when it's being AI, and can't be faked out when you are using a safety, even though I don't really know unless like, you know, the players got well into the second level, who uses their safety. So if I had to pick one of the two, Enforcer's probably the better one, because, you know, you always like laying the lumber, you always like having that increased percentage of forcing a fumble. And now that these specific players, the group of 4, won't have just that botched hit stick, I mean, it makes the fact that there are, you know, big time proven hitters across the middle of the field that I don't think they've ever missed. If they get a free open shot, regardless of who is the ball carrier, they don't jack them up. And I like that this is pretty much back in the game, because nothing would be worse than having a guy that's 99 hit power, and then you go back and look at the highlight of, you know, him just whiffing or getting ran over by like Darren Sproles or something like that just in previous games. I mean, obviously that's an extreme scenario, but that would happen from time to time. So I like the fact that this is now in game. There are 2 superstar abilities that are both for corners and safeties. First up, we have Pick Artist, which is a higher interception percentage and no stamina loss on interception return. So that's amazing. This is clearly the one that you want, the creme de la creme of the traits that I believe, you know, for all of them, Superstar or X Factor, I personally believe. This is possessed by Kyle Fuller, Xavier Howard, Richard Sherman, Eddie Jackson, Micah Hyde, and Earl Thomas. So it makes sense, though, because there are some players that, you know, they have some special team experience, so when they do get an interception in-game, they look to take it to the house every single time. So I definitely love Pick Artist, and out of everything we've talked about so far, it is, in terms of overpowered, the number 1. And then there's also Zoned Out, which gives you a higher knockout/pass breakup ability and quicker reactions while you're in zone coverage. So that's a little bit more specific. Byron Jones, Richard Sherman, Darius Slay, Eddie Jackson, Earl Thomas, Derwin James, and Harrison Smith possess this. You know, it's okay. Like I said, if you're not running a zone coverage, might not apply. And I think the fact that you are limiting because you are running a man play, Pick Artist is the creme de la creme. I can't stress that enough. So then we're going from that. We started with the safeties. Now let's look at the 3 superstar abilities for corners only. We have universal coverage, which is ridiculous, tighter coverage, and knockouts percentage in man and zone. So it's literally, you are good at everything. The only player that has this right now from the beta is Jalen Ramsey, and I think rightfully so. I think he is the complete DB. Yes, coming off a little bit of a down year last season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they put in some respect on his name here in Madden. Then we also have Man Up, which is tighter coverage and knockout ability in man coverage. This is Chris Harris Jr. and Stephon Gilmore. And then you have Acrobat, which is increased dive range on interception attempts and pass breakups. This is possessed by Chris Harris, Denzel Ward, Byron Jones, Jalen Ramsey, Stephon Gilmore, and Marshawn Lattimore. I think that, you know, anything that's going to give you a boost to, like a hidden statistical boost, because obviously this, you know, could technically be classified into jumping. You know, there's no explosiveness trait, but anything that would kind of pile into what makes a player explosive in Madden, this is an immediate boost to any of those abilities. So, I mean, I think more so than any other group, we're seeing animation, like stuff under the hood that is being modified and manipulated to give certain players an advantage, more so than we've seen at wide receiver, running back, cornerback, defensive line, linebacker. So I think from that standpoint, these are going to be very, very valuable abilities, because it's not just like simple trait buffs. You know, like there are someone that you play a little bit better in man coverage, but there's so many things that are out of user control. Like, oh, you can't get, you know, broken tackles on a hit stick. You have better diving range, higher percent, no stamina loss on interception return for Pick Artists. The fact that you're going to get better animations when you're trying to go for a pass breakup. You might get locked in or just straight up break some annoying animations from the wide receiver standpoint. The stupid catching stuff that sometimes when you're trying to cover up a wide receiver, that no matter what you do, they were making those plays in Madden 19. Well, hey, you're going to have these abilities that are going to counteract those animations and make them just not exist. And where they were being, you know, getting mossed upon or just like broken coverage, you're not really going to have that. And, you know, obviously we're going to have to have a month or so of Madden to really see how these are going to play out, because you know how the wide receiver and DB plays has been a very polarizing topic in the Madden community for the last couple of years. That's the biggest battle that people consistently go up against. It's either what is your wide receiver doing against a DB or vice versa, or it's all offensive line versus defensive line. And because we don't know anything yet about the offensive line abilities, hopefully they do a blog or something like that. I know Moonlight Swami confirmed it on Twitter, which is dope. So we can't really, you know, compare how all that's going to go down with the instant block sheds and stuff. But we do know enough between the wide receivers and the secondary players that, you know, it felt good in the beta. It felt good at any time I've had an opportunity to play the game. It felt better than last year's game, but I didn't play enough. And you're not going to really just generally play enough until, you know, a month, 2 months in to Madden to start catching on to what animations are annoying, what animations are glitchy, what animations just don't feel good, and then the inverse, what animations feel rewarding, what animations feel realistic, what gives you the best balance between making it feel like a video game and making it feel like real life sim style football. So all in all, guys, I think for these abilities, they're very overpowered because we are seeing anything that manipulate stuff that isn't just like a stat boost that you clearly can sell. I'm always going to weigh on the side that that's going to be very overpowered. I've maintained that through all of these little breakdown videos, and I think you're seeing that more so than ever when we're talking about these players in the secondary. So let me know what abilities you're most excited to use. I'm sure that if you're a Cardinal fan or a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, not having a Patrick Peterson or Malcolm Jenkins or Kevin Byard get any of these abilities, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of venting, but let me know what abilities you are most excited to use. What are you worried about? What are you hoping to see? This is the last breakdown of all the X Factors, so anything else that you guys might want to see if I can try and pass on to people, if you have any concerns, any suggestions. I mean, someone already suggested way back in the quarterback breakdown video that there should be negative traits, negative X Factors, which, you know, talked about this last time, that, you know, you don't want to sell a new feature on potentially being negative. I think as they grow, as Madden continues to refine this brand new mechanism, I think negatives are an awesome ability, an awesome speed bump, a hurdle to go up against and try to deal with in-game in terms of in-game player management. So you guys keep letting the ideas fly. I'll try my best to make as much noise about them as humanly possible. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Madden 20 season is beginning now here on the channel, and I know you guys want to stick along for the ride. You're not going to want to miss out. We got some fire content, franchise mode, face of the franchise, and everything in between, so don't miss out on it. And until next time, it's C4 saying like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.